John Gotti was a notorious American gangster born in 1940 in the Bronx, New York. He rose to fame as the boss of the Gambino crime family in the 1980s. Gotti gained the nickname the Teflon Don because of his reputation for being able to evade prison sentences. During his criminal career, Gotti spent part of his time organizing and running criminal activities. He was arrested 3 times but managed to get away with it because the witnesses against him all recanted their accusations. Gotti was eventually convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment in 1992. Gotti was a fan of excess. He wore custom-tailored suits, surrounded himself with expensive things, and associated himself with famous people. Through his connections and reputation, Gotti was able to acquire a luxurious lifestyle. Gotti was known for his violent retaliations towards anyone that crossed him, which led to several mob murders. He was also implicated in the attempted murder of Roy DeMeo, a hitman in the Gambino family. Gotti became a celebrity of sorts. Tabloids often referred to him as a modern-day Al Capone. This fame only increased his notoriety, making him some sort of an icon. Before Gotti's career as a mobster, he worked as a truck driver, an enforcer for the Jim Favara crime family and a gambler. He was involved in various criminal activities such as hijacking, loan sharking, drug trafficking, extortion, and illegal gambling. Gotti was a bright and articulate individual, and he held a great fascination with the higher echelons of the Mafia. He worked his way up the ranks and began to gain notoriety. Gotti was first arrested in 1974 for hijacking and spent 3 years in prison. Upon his release, he nearly took over the leadership of the Gambino family. In 1986, Gotti was arrested for the murder of Paul Castellano, the head of the Gambino crime family. Although Gotti was accused of the crime, he was acquitted due to his connections and his ability to influence witnesses. After the Castellano murder, Gotti vaulted into the spotlight and became a media darling. Numerous movies and books have been written about him. He was also the subject of a 1992 TV movie about the underbelly of the mob. Gotti was initially considered a model prisoner and wasn't as tough as other mobsters in the prison. However, he was later caught organizing drug deals and plotting escape from prison. Despite Gotti's criminal activities, he was revered by many people, including some in the law enforcement community. It is believed that he had the protection of corrupt FBI agents as well as state and federal prosecutors. Gotti was eventually found guilty on several charges in 1992, and he passed away in 2002 due to throat cancer. While he was alive, he was one of the most powerful and influential mobsters in the United States. Before his death, Gotti failed to gain the respect and acceptance of the New York Mafia and was denied entry into La Cosa Nostra. He died without achieving his dream of becoming a capo di tutti capi, boss of all bosses. In the decades since his death, Gotti's legend has continued to grow. While his life was filled with violence, he is remembered more as a folk hero than anything. Gotti was never a stereotypical mobster. He spoke eloquently and wore custom-made suits. He was also known for his generosity to those who worked for him and his loyalty to his family. Gotti created a persona that would live beyond his death. His name and legacy still evoke fear and respect in the criminal underworld. His criminal career was centered around the Gambino crime family, and he was often seen as a charismatic figure at social functions and ceremonies. he maintained an image that he was a man to be feared. Gotti's criminal career was often marked by violence, particularly when he was exacting revenge or punishing those who broke from mob protocol. His no-nonsense attitude earned him the nickname the Teflon Don because his charges would often be dropped or ignored. Being a real-life mobster, Gotti was bound to rub shoulders with criminals of all persuasions. His influence and network extended far beyond the Mafia as well. Politicians, lawyers, business people, journalists, and other powerful people were all found in his circle. In his time, Gotti was the most powerful mobster. He was heavily involved in organized crime and was at the top of the mob hierarchy. His criminal career spanned several decades from the mid-1950s until his death in 2002. Gotti was a master manipulator. He had a way of inspires loyalty from both his followers and enemies. On his orders, countless people were murdered, although Gotti himself rarely personally got his hands dirty. During the peak of his criminal career, Gotti's men took control of many organized crime operations in New York and the Eastern Seaboard. He held a strong influence in his own crime family, as well as with other mafia families. Gotti was known for his impressive style and flamboyant attitude. He was often seen wearing expensive custom suits and sporting a thick head of hair, making him an instant celebrity. Gotti's criminal career ended shortly after his trial in 1992. He received a life sentence and was sent to prison, where he died in 2002 of throat cancer.